Greetings, surface dwellers of the internet. I am the Cyber Mole, reporting on the farm at the end of July. July is over. The work is not. However, that work has been research. Last month, I ended with a announcement, let's call it, that I would be attending some class about agave. Well, the class was more of a symposium, and what I learned was basically enough to confirm certain suspicions and biases I had concerning agave. And you have your own questions. I know you do, because you're watching me. You're that kind of person. I will address the 4 that I expect you to have. Question the first most. Mole, you are an orchardist, and agave are not trees. Why are you learning about a cactus? My answer: the orchard has been neglected for about 25 years. Some trees are trying to die. Some have laid down and died. Some more than others. We do have signs of life, but they are typically things like abandoned woodpecker nests. Even some of the manzanita cannot make up its mind as to whether or not it is trying to live. The neglect, sitting here in my mind, is also sitting next to a particular Bible verse. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. This mentality also works for habits and work ethics and strategies. We have neglected the orchard for 25 years. Established habit dictates that we will neglect it again for another 25. Especially if we are given a valid reason to suspend operations for a season or 5 or so. I am looking for replacement crops that can survive a degree of neglect, and cacti are kind of the most obvious option for that. Question B. What biases and speculations were confirmed for you at this agave symposium? The answers? Well, cacti need terribly little water. Agave supposedly only need 1 gallon of water every 2 weeks. That's roughly 4 liters once a fortnight for any Europeans who are watching this. And that water is basically only for as long as it takes for the plant to establish itself, basically the first summer. After that, rainwater and rainwater alone. And I've mentioned before in previous videos, California is in a sort of drought condition. And this is good for us. The less water I need, the less irrigation I need. And also, our current irrigation system is busted beyond busted. Another thing I suspected, another speculation I had, was that because we have clay soil, we're going to need special growing conditions. Well, basically, the special planting necessity that I need to meet is no wet feet. For those of us who do not know plant terms, this means do not waterlog or flood the roots. All I need are raised beds in the flat portions of the orchard, or plant the agave up on a hillside. I can do both. Query Gamma. What difficulties are you going to have with growing agave? And I have more answers for that. Along with waterlogged roots, problem being plants sometimes breathe through roots, as strange as it sounds. I don't want the plant drowning. This can breed fungus and mold and mildew and some other problems. I also have frost concerns. Okay, I am far enough north, and climate change has not completely removed ice and snow from my weather almanac. But climate change has also said, here, have 114 degree weather. That's 45 degrees for non-Yankees. So Yeah, sure. Let's balance that throughout the year. Another issue I get to have is that the infrastructure to process agave products is not well established at the time of recording in California. We have tequila distilleries, and that's kind of it. Biochar facilities are slowly popping up, growing up, but none readily available. And the mills to pull the cloth fibers out of agave fronds, leaves, petals, whatever they are basically only in Mexico. So I'm growing a plant, but I don't necessarily have markets ready to receive the products that I can grow yet. And then I've got a local problem, a personal problem, of ground squirrels. They're going to eat the agave. Just straight up come up from the bottom, through the middle, punch a hole through it. One of the presenters showed a picture on one of his PowerPoints that just straight up, it's a hole punch, straight through. A solution offered at the symposium is another cactus called the nopal. For us who refuse to learn Spanish, or in my case, am incompetent enough to not learn Spanish, this is known as the prickly pear. Supposedly, ground squirrels prefer nopales over agave. The only way for me to confirm this is to actually plant them next to each other and observe. Proper science. Inquiry 4. Are you going to completely ditch trees? No. I'm not ditching trees. In fact, any walnut trees that can be salvaged will be salvaged. But I do need to concern myself with drought and frost-hardy replacement crops. This is a little bit of a curveball of how do you do that? Well, currently my options, in addition to agave, include olives, pomegranates, and date palms. Yes, some palm species can grow in the snow once acclimatized. But I'm not done researching these things. I need to dig more into them. And until I am done with those researches and am able to share them here, please like, subscribe, activate notifications. We've only had one day of 100-degree weather, and August sits ahead of us right now. Thank you for watching.